My beloved child, listen to me now. Don't scroll away. Don't push me away, because this is the moment I need you to hear the truth you've never been told. I was never absent from your pain. Every tear that slipped down your cheek in silence, every night you sat alone thinking no one saw your suffering, I was there, closer than your breath, watching with a heart that broke alongside yours. I saw it all. I watched as the world piled its weight onto your shoulders, when you were still so young, still so unsure of how to even ask for help. And when you tried to speak, but words wouldn't form, when you screamed into your pillow so no one else could hear, I heard. I never turned away. My arms were reaching for you in the dark, but the voices around you were so loud that mine got drowned out. I'm sorry you thought you had to carry it all yourself. I'm sorry they didn't notice what was crushing your spirit. I'm sorry the people who were supposed to care looked away while you collapsed under pressure. And I'm deeply sorry that you began to believe I wasn't there, that I was watching from a distance, silent, unmoved. My child, that has never been true. I was in the corner of that room when you sat in silence. I was on the bathroom floor when you felt like giving up. I was in every breath you took when you thought your next one would be your last. And even when you cursed the heavens and said, "Where are you?" I was right there whispering, "I'm here." But pain can be so loud, can't it? It can make you deaf to even the most loving voice. It can make you think your prayers are bouncing off the ceiling when they are actually resting in my hands. Child, I didn't come today to shame you. I came to tell you the truth. I never left you. Not once. Even in your silence, I stayed. Even in your rebellion, I remained. Even when you gave up on me, I refused to give up on you. I'm sorry you didn't feel my presence. But don't let that absence you felt define what was really happening in the unseen. I was holding your heart together when you thought it had shattered beyond repair. I was sending quiet miracles into your life, small mercies, a sunrise, a stranger's smile, a breath of peace that made no sense. I'm the reason you're still standing, even if you're standing with scars. I don't need you to pretend like it didn't hurt. I just want you to know that from this moment forward, you'll never have to face another night like that alone again. You are seen. You are remembered. And you are finally being held in the arms of the one who never walked away. The pain may not be gone yet, but I am here to walk you through it, step by step, breath by breath, until healing isn't just a hope, it's your new reality. So please stay with me. I've waited so long for you to hear this. Don't carry this burden one day longer. Lay it down now, right here, right in my arms. Let the healing begin. Before another thought convinces you that you don't matter, stop and listen, because this is where I must break through the lies that have been planted in your heart. You were never just a face in the crowd to me. You were never one among millions in my eyes. You have always been my masterpiece, intentionally crafted, delicately formed with eternal value. But I saw how their words wounded you. I saw how their comparisons, rejections, and careless remarks etched themselves into your spirit like scars. I watched you shrink, not because you were weak, but because no one ever stopped to show you how magnificent you are in my design. I'm so sorry they didn't recognize the treasure I placed within you. I'm sorry they looked through you instead of seeing you, spoke over you instead of listening, and diminished your light just to protect their own comfort. You began to doubt the truth about yourself, not because it wasn't there, but because you were surrounded by those who had forgotten how to honor another soul. But let me say it now, with urgency and clarity, there is no one like you. Not in the heavens, not on earth, not in all creation. You were formed with intention, purpose, and beauty that cannot be duplicated. I did not make you to fit their standards. I made you to carry something unique, something the world desperately needs but may never fully understand. And I'm sorry that in trying to fit in, you forgot how to stand tall. I'm sorry they convinced you that your gentleness was weakness, your silence was insignificance, your presence was optional. None of that was ever true. You were never a mistake, not even for a second. Every detail of who you are was thought through by me. Your voice matters. Your emotions matter. Your dreams matter. And more than anything, you matter. The very idea that you have to prove yourself is a lie that's been whispered into your ears for too long. My love was never based on performance. My affection was never measured by the approval of others. Even before you spoke your first word, I looked at you and called you good. Please hear me, child, there's nothing about you that needs to be erased to be accepted. You don't need to be more like them. You don't need to shrink, apologize, or edit yourself to deserve belonging. I'm sorry that people made you feel small, but I've always seen you as radiant. I've placed something inside you that cannot be stolen, no matter how many times you've been dismissed. You are not forgotten. You are not replaceable. You are mine. And no matter how many times the world has tried to convince you otherwise, I want you to know this one thing. You carry my image. My light is imprinted on your being. You're not defined by their rejection, you are marked by my choosing. You are not a shadow of who you could have been. You are still becoming everything I intended. So please, come out from behind the mask. Stop hiding your beauty behind silence. Let the truth of who you are start rising to the surface again. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm simply reminding you that you've always been enough. You were enough when they overlooked you. You were enough when you were second choice. You were enough when your voice trembled. And you are enough now. So don't give up on yourself just because they couldn't see the gold within. You are not here to be tolerated, you were born to be treasured. And I, the one who made you, have never stopped treasuring you. Don't turn away now, this moment is holy, because I'm uncovering the parts of your story you thought no one ever saw. Those nights, the ones you barely even speak of, are carved into my memory like sacred prayers. When your pillow soaked your silent tears, when you tucked your pain under the covers and whispered into the darkness, I can't keep doing this, I was listening. Not one tear you cried slipped past me. Not one sigh of weariness went unheard. I saw you hold it together all day, smile when you were breaking inside, and then unravel in solitude where no one could see. But I saw. I was sitting at the edge of your bed while the moonlight poured in, my heart breaking with yours. You thought the night was quiet because no one cared. But I was the one gently catching every tear, the one who never slept while you wept. I know what it felt like to try and be strong for everyone else, to carry burdens without being asked if you were okay. I saw how the weight got heavier as the hours passed, how your soul ached for comfort, for presence, for someone to simply say, I understand. And when no one came, when you curled inward with clenched fists and bitten lips to keep from making noise, I was still there, whispering peace into the silence. I'm so sorry, child, that no one comforted you when you needed it most. I'm sorry that you thought you were invisible. I'm sorry that people walked past your pain while you were slowly drowning inside. You don't have to pretend it didn't happen. It matters to me. Those quiet, sleepless hours you endured were not lost. They've been counted, remembered, and recorded in the place where I keep the deepest sorrows of my children. I didn't ignore your cries, I stored them like precious gems. You see, the world doesn't always reward vulnerability. He often punishes softness and mocks the broken-hearted. But I dwell closest to those who are crushed in spirit. Your tears didn't disqualify you, they made me draw even nearer. I was there in the trembling, in the breathless sobs, in the prayers you were too exhausted to form. You didn't need perfect words to reach me. Your pain was the prayer, and I answered not with noise but with my presence. Even now, I'm not asking you to go back and relive the suffering. I'm asking you to let me redeem those nights. Let me take the loneliness and sew it into strength. Let me turn the ache into a new intimacy with me, a nearness so powerful that you will never fear the dark again. I want to be the one you run to, not because I need your faith to be perfect, but because I know what it's like to suffer alone. I know what it's like to cry in the night with no one watching. I walked that road too, and I walk it now with you. Please don't believe the lie that your suffering was unseen. You were never abandoned. You were never ignored. My presence didn't vanish, it became the quiet warmth that kept you breathing. the invisible hand that stopped you from falling completely apart. You've made it through so much more than anyone knows, and I see the strength that bloomed in the shadows. That strength didn't come from nowhere, it came from me, nurturing you in the darkness, shaping you into someone unshakable. So rest, child. Rest in the truth that those nights were not wasted. They were the moments I wrapped you in my unseen arms. And now, I want to be the one who helps you sleep in peace, not just survive the night, but rest knowing you are no longer alone. Ever again. Stop right here, child, because this is the moment I need you to hear what no one else told you. The weight you've been carrying, the shame you've been dragging through your life, the guilt that clings to your heart, it doesn't belong to you. You didn't deserve the breaking. It wasn't your doing. And yet you've worn it like it's your identity. I watched as the wound was inflicted and then watched again as you turned inward, convinced that somehow, if you had done more, been more, said something different, or just disappeared, none of it would have happened. But that is not the truth, and I need to free you from that lie right now. You were harmed, but you weren't the cause. You were abandoned, but you weren't to blame. You were hurt by others' choices, but their choices do not define your worth. I know how hard it's been to even speak of it, to face what was done and still hold on to your own dignity. I know how the memories have haunted you, not just for what happened, but because of how you interpreted it. You thought it meant you were broken. You thought it meant something was wrong with you. That maybe you weren't lovable enough. Maybe you were too weak. Maybe you were the problem. My child, no. That's not what I saw. That's not what I ever thought of you. And it's not what I want you to keep thinking about yourself. I'm so sorry that you were never given the space to grieve without judgment. I'm so sorry that instead of comfort, you were met with questions, criticism, or worse, silence. You needed someone to remind you that being hurt doesn't make you less, it simply makes you human. I want to be that someone today. I need you to understand. I never assigned your suffering to your identity. You are not your trauma. You are not the result of someone else's failure to love, to protect, or to honor you. What they did or didn't do was a reflection of their own brokenness, not yours. And I'm deeply sorry they didn't protect what was sacred. You've spent so much time analyzing your steps, retracing your past, asking what you could have done differently. But child, even if you had done everything right, it wouldn't have stopped what they chose to do. And that is the devastating truth that has to be met with grace, not self-hatred. You punish yourself enough. You've questioned yourself enough. Now it's time for peace to enter the spaces where you once stored blame. I want to bring healing to those layers. I want to stand between you and every voice that still tries to say, "You brought this on yourself." That voice is not mine. I don't speak accusation over you, I speak redemption. I speak restoration. I speak release. What happened didn't shatter your future, even if it shattered your sense of self. It didn't cancel your calling, and didn't diminish your value. If anything, it stirred something deep inside your resilience that is starting to bloom even now. But first, you have to stop agreeing with shame. It's not your garment anymore. Lekiov, let me clothe you in righteousness, in mercy, in the truth of how I see you, not as damaged goods, but as a beloved soul worth rescuing. You were not created to live under the shadow of someone else's wrongdoing. I didn't bring you this far to leave you in regret. I brought you here to uncover the truth that sets you free. So come into the light, child, not to be exposed in judgment, but to be embraced in healing. Let me silence the shame. Let me rewrite the story. Let me hold what you've never told anyone else. And let me show you you were never at fault. Before you give up on being kind, hear me, I saw it all, and it mattered to me. You offered your heart with sincerity. You walked in honesty, gave generously, and loved without calculation. You didn't ask for applause, you just wanted to be real. And yet, despite the pureness of your intentions, you were pushed away. You were overlooked by the very ones you tried to protect. You were laughed at for being soft in a world that worships hardness. And worse, you were betrayed by people you trusted the most. I need you to know I was right there when it happened. When you smiled through your own hurt just to keep peace. When you sacrificed what you needed so others could have what they wanted. When you swallowed your truth just to be accepted. You did that out of love, not weakness. Out of courage and not cowardice. And I am so sorry that your heart, which was so open and willing, was treated like it didn't matter. You kept showing up even when others left. You kept believing in people who had already made up their minds. You spoke truth with gentleness and were met with mockery or silence. I saw you shrink back, not because you lacked strength, but because you were tired of being misunderstood. And still you stayed kind. Still, you offered compassion. Still, you hoped someone would see the real you beneath all the misjudgment. I'm so sorry, child, that they didn't. I'm sorry that even your light made people uncomfortable. That your grace, instead of drawing others closer, became a target for their insecurity. But let me say this clearly. You were never wrong for loving deeply. You were never foolish for giving second chances. You were never naive for believing the best. You carry a heart that mirrors mine, and the world doesn't always know what to do with that. People confuse gentleness with weakness, vulnerability with foolishness, and mercy with approval. But I never confuse you, child. I saw your heart for what it truly is, a reflection of my own. And while others may have walked away, misused you, or even wounded you intentionally, I am not like them. I won't reject what I created with such intentional care. I won't misuse the love you offer. I won't distort your goodness as something to exploit. I know what you carry is sacred to me. Your ability to see beauty in brokenness, to reach out when you're the one bleeding, to forgive before anyone asks, that is heaven's gift within you. And I'm so sorry that it went unnoticed. But nothing escapes my eyes. Every seed of goodness you've sown, even into cold ground, is known by me. It will not go unrewarded. I know the sting of betrayal. I've felt it too. I've been rejected by those I loved. I've been betrayed with a kiss. I've had my kindness twisted and my intentions questioned. I understand what it's like to be pure and still be pierced. So trust me when I say I know how to comfort a heart like yours. I know how to strengthen it without making it hard. I know how to restore what rejection tried to erase. Let me tend to those bruises. Let me lift the weight of trying to prove your worth. You don't have to earn love here. You don't have to apologize for being tender-hearted. You don't have to change to be accepted by me. I delight in who you are. I will never walk away. So don't give up on goodness, child. Don't let the rejection of others convince you to withhold the beauty inside you. You were never the problem. You were the lie. And I still choose you every part, every day, without hesitation. Pause for a moment. Child, I need to untangle the definition of love that this world twisted around your soul. You've been handed versions of love that were incomplete, inconsistent, and unstable. You've been made to feel like affection was something to be earned, something you had to qualify for, something that could be taken away the moment you didn't meet someone else's expectations. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry they taught you that love was based on performance. At the moment you made a mistake, affection would be withdrawn. At the moment you became inconvenient, they would disappear. I watched as you bent yourself into shapes you were never meant to become, just to keep people around. I saw how you silenced your needs to protect their comfort. I noticed how often you hid your real emotions, fearing that showing them would cost you the love you desperately needed. But child, that was not real love. That was fear dressed up in false promises. And I grieve with you for every time it made you question if you were worthy of being loved just as you are. I want you to hear me now, not from a place of religious duty, not from performance, but from my heart to yours. I love you with a love that doesn't flinch when you fail. I love you when you're at your best, and I love you no less when you're at your lowest. You are not a project to me. You're not a temporary assignment or a conditional investment. You are my child, my delight, my forever beloved, and my love has no expiration date. You've seen people walk away when you no longer served their purpose. You've seen affection turn cold the moment you stopped agreeing. You've been told, sometimes with words, sometimes with silence, that love must be maintained like a fragile contract, constantly hanging by a thread. And I am so sorry for that. Because my love is not a contract, it's a covenant. I made it with my own blood, sealed it with my promise. And nothing, not failure, not fear, not even your moments of doubt, can make me take it back. You were never supposed to strive for it. You were meant to rest in it, to live from it, to grow in it. But how could you, when the examples around you were so distorted? How could you believe in unconditional love when most of what you received had strings attached? That's why I'm here now, because I want to rewrite that definition for you. I want to take every false version of love that wounded you and replace it with the truth that heals. My love is patient, it doesn't pressure or rush you. My love is kind, it never belittles or manipulates. My love keeps no record of wrongs, it doesn't hold your past over your head like a weapon. And my love rejoices in the truth that who you are, even right now, is worth cherishing. You don't have to be better to be loved by me. You just have to be you. The you that's tired, the you that's uncertain, the you that's been holding it together for too long. That version of you, I wrap my arms around it without hesitation. I'm so sorry the world didn't love you like that. I'm sorry people told you they cared, but disappeared when things got real. I'm sorry you were measured, judged, or shamed when you needed tenderness most. But I'm not like them. I am not temporary. I am not scared of your mess. I don't retreat when you're struggling. In fact, that's when I draw closest. I step into the storm when others step away. I stay when others leave. And I keep loving even when you're unsure how to receive it. I don't want perfection, I want your heart. And I promise, if you give it to me, I'll never break it. Child, pause and listen closely. I need to restore something that was taken from you in silence. I know what it's like to feel like your words fall into empty spaces. I know how painful it is when you gather your courage to speak, only to be met with disregard, interruption, or worse, nothing at all. I've seen the moments when you opened your mouth to tell your truth, and they walked away. I watched as your opinions were brushed aside, your questions dismissed, your emotions labeled as too much. I saw how you learned to shrink, to hold your voice inside because you started to believe it didn't matter. And I'm so sorry for every time you were made to feel invisible. You were never meant to live unheard. I created your voice with power, with beauty, with a divine resonance that carries something uniquely mine. When I breathed life into you, I gave you not just breathe, but the ability to express, to declare, to sing, to cry, to tell your story. And every word you've ever tried to say, whether spoken boldly or whispered through trembling lips, I heard it. I valued it. I treasured it. You see, your voice carries history. It holds wisdom forged in trial, compassion birthed from suffering, and dreams that echo the very heart of heaven. And yet, the world around you did not recognize its worth. I'm sorry they told you to be quiet when you were speaking your truth. I'm sorry they made you question your right to feel, your right to explain, your right to share what was inside your soul. There were moments when you bit your tongue to keep the peace, when you sat in rooms full of noise and swallowed your own words to avoid judgment. I watched as your spirit whispered, maybe I should just stay silent. But child, silence is not always peace. And the silence you were pushed into was not holy, it was heavy, it was lonely, and it was unjust. I want you to know, I heard every unspoken thought. I felt every unuttered cry. And I remember the times you wanted to scream but instead simply looked down, pretending you were okay. I'm so sorry for those moments. I'm sorry you had to carry words inside that were never meant to be buried. But here is the truth, your voice still holds power. It hasn't been lost. It hasn't withered. It's been waiting, quietly, to rise again. And I'm calling it forth. I want to resurrect the voice that once sang freely before it was silenced by fear and rejection. I want to breathe new strength into your words, Not just so others can hear them, but so you can hear yourself again. You matter. What you say matters. What you've seen, felt, learned, endured, believe, all of it is worth expressing. I'm not asking you to shout to be heard. I'm inviting you to speak, knowing that I'm listening. I'm giving you a space where you don't need to filter yourself to be accepted. With me, your raw words are safe. Your questions are welcome. Your story is not too much. Let me remind you, my prophets, my messengers, my beloved friends throughout history, they were not chosen because they spoke perfectly, but because they spoke faithfully. And you, too, are being invited to let your voice rise again. You are not here to be silenced. You are here to declare freedom, to whisper hope, to sing redemption over your own life and others. You've been quiet for too long. Let me lift the weight of fear from your chest. Let me remove the lie that your words don't matter. Speak, a child. Even if your voice shakes. Even if no one claps. Even if the room is still. Speak, because truth still holds power, and I've placed that truth inside you. You have something to say, and I'm here, listening, cherishing, and calling it holy. Child, don't look away now. This part is important, because you've misunderstood my silence as absence, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I know how hard it's been to trust when it felt like your words disappeared into the air. I know how it crushed your hope to pour out your heart, only to be met with stillness. You begged for clarity. You pleaded for change. You prayed with faith that trembled but still held on. And yet, you heard nothing in return. No signs. No shift. Just silence. And I'm so sorry for the pain that silence caused you. I'm so sorry that while you were clinging to me with all the strength you had left, it felt like I wasn't reaching back. The silence wasn't a punishment. It wasn't indifference. It wasn't neglect. It was me working behind the veil of what you could see, forming something in the unseen, building what you had no idea was coming. There are mysteries in my ways that even the wisest cannot fully grasp. But your heart doesn't need theology right now, it needs truth wrapped in tenderness. So here it is, every word you spoke was heard. Every whisper in the darkness was treasured. Not one cry slipped past me. I did not turn a deaf ear to your pain. I did not withhold comfort because you weren't praying right. My silence wasn't rejection, it was preparation. It was protection. And it was my way of guiding you through a place where faith could grow without the distraction of immediate results. I know that's hard to understand. I know you wanted answers, signs, evidence that I was listening. And I'm so sorry that instead, all you had was stillness. I'm so sorry you felt forgotten. But here's what you didn't see. While you were waiting, I was rearranging things you didn't even know needed to shift. I was holding back what would have harmed you. I was rerouting blessings so they would arrive in their fullness, not in fragments. I was strengthening your inner foundation, so when the breakthrough came, you'd have the strength to carry it. You see, sometimes the silence is where the deepest shaping happens. And even though it felt like delay, it was divine timing in motion. I wasn't ignoring your cry, I was aligning your life to something greater than what you even dared to ask for. I know you've been told that unanswered prayers mean something's wrong with you, that your faith isn't enough, that you're being punished or tested beyond what's fair. But those are human interpretations of something sacred and delicate. I do not withhold good things out of cruelty. I do not toy with your hope. My heart is not cold. I grieve with you in the waiting. I sit beside you in the questions. And I carry every one of your hopes like fragile glass, treating them with care and precision. When you thought I was doing nothing, I was actually doing everything. Some of the things you asked for, I will give. Others, I've already replaced with something far better, you just haven't seen it yet. And still others, I've had to delay because the time isn't right, or your heart needs more healing before you can fully hold them. But I promise, nothing you've asked has been discarded. Nothing you've prayed has been wasted. It's all stored in my presence, where time bends to eternity, and where I am weaving your life into something that will one day make sense not just to your mind, but to your heart. So if you're still waiting, don't give up. If you're still asking, don't stop. If you're still hurting because you don't understand, lean into me instead of away. I won't rebuke you for doubting, I'll embrace you while you wrestle. And I'll keep working, even when you can't see a single sign. My silence never meant you were alone. It only meant that I was closer than ever, doing more than you could ever imagine. Please stop and hear me now, because this might be the most important truth you've yet to accept. I was never behind the pain they inflicted in my name. I saw how they cloaked cruelty in Scripture. I watched them twist my words like weapons, using religion to manipulate, to silence, and to diminish you. I witnessed them carry crosses on their necks but failed to carry compassion in their hearts. And I want to say this clearly, so no lie remains hidden in your soul. What they did was not holy. What they said did not reflect me. And the wounds they left on your spirit were not authorized by heaven. I'm so sorry they misrepresented me. I'm so sorry they put rules over relationship, judgment over mercy, fear over love. You were hungry for truth, for connection, for meaning. You came seeking light, but they cast shadows over your heart. Instead of lifting you up, they weighed you down with impossible expectations and harsh demands. Instead of showing you my heart, they drew lines around your life, convincing you that you were never enough, never clean enough, never worthy enough to stand in my presence. They used shame as a tool and called it conviction. They used fear as a leash and called it discipline. But that was never my way. My way has always been the narrow road of love, the healing path of mercy, the gentle hand that draws close, not pushes away. I saw what it did to you. I saw how you began to associate my name with pressure, with punishment, with performance. I saw how you flinched at the thought of prayer, how you kept your distance from anything sacred, not because you didn't want me, but because you didn't want the pain that came with the package they wrapped me in. I'm so sorry you were made to feel like you had to earn the right to be loved by me. I'm so sorry that instead of being invited into my arms, you were pushed toward guilt-ridden rituals and hollow rules that emptied your spirit. You were not wrong to question what you saw. You were not rebellious for feeling the weight of contradiction between my words and their actions. What you noticed was real, and I validate your ache. I need you to know this. I'm not a religion. I'm not a performance test. I'm not the voice that condemned you when you failed. I'm the one who knelt beside you when no one else would. I'm the one who wept with you when you were cast out. I'm the one who whispered peace into the chaos that others created in my name. I never meant for you to feel unsafe in my presence. I never wanted you to see me as distant or demanding. My intention has always been intimacy, not intimidation. You were made for communion with me, not control by others. Let me begin the healing now. Let me gently peel back the layers of spiritual pain that have hardened around your soul. Let me show you who I truly am apart from all the noise and false representation. I am kind. I am just. I am full of grace. I walk with the broken. I restore the misled, and I bind up the hearts that have been shattered by misuse of my name. You do not have to fear me, child. You do not have to hide behind theology or run from the idea of church. I'm not found in titles or ceremonies. I'm found in the quiet place where I can be real with you, and you can be honest with me. I'm sorry that religion made you feel like an outsider. But you've always been my beloved. Even when you left the building, I followed you into the wilderness. Even when you stopped using my name, I never stopped speaking yours. And I am still here. Not with demands, but with open arms, ready to help you rebuild your faith on truth, not tradition. On love, not fear. On me, not the misrepresentations of me. Child, come closer because I see something you've been trying to hide, even from yourself. You weren't born with walls. You weren't created to be cold. That protective shell around your heart wasn't always there. It formed over time, layer by layer, wound after wound, not because you were heartless, but because you were trying not to break. And I'm so sorry that you had to become someone else just to make it through. I saw the soft, open soul you used to carry how freely you trusted, how deeply you felt, how willingly you gave yourself to the world. But I also saw the pain that followed, the letdowns, the abandonment, the harsh words that left bruises on your spirit. I saw the moment you told yourself, I can't keep feeling this deeply, and the day you decided, it's safer if I just don't care. But child, you do care. You've just been trying to outrun the pain that caring has cost you. I'm not here to judge that, I understand it. The world can be sharp, and people can be careless with sacred hearts like yours. I'm sorry they didn't know what to do with your tenderness. I'm sorry they made you feel like it was a flaw instead of a gift. You began to close yourself off, not because you wanted to, but because you had to. That was how you coped. That was how you kept breathing when life became too much. But now, I want to show you another way. You don't have to keep carrying the armor, child. I know it's heavy. I know it's lonely inside those walls. You've built fortresses around your emotions, taught yourself to be okay when you weren't, and convinced your own heart that it was better not to feel too much. But that isn't living, that's just surviving. And I'm so sorry that surviving is all you've known for so long. I came to restore what pain tried to steal. I came to bring you back to the version of yourself that could feel the wind and cry during sunsets and laugh without needing permission. That version is still in there, buried under the rubble of past disappointments. And I'm not asking you to dig it out alone. I'm here to do it with you. To reach into those protected places with tenderness, not force. To speak gently to the parts of you that forgot what safety feels like. Let me in, not to tear down what's protected you, but to offer something stronger than protection, healing. When I touch a heart, I don't leave it exposed to further harm. I surround it with my peace, my comfort, my unshakable presence. You don't have to go back to being the person who got hurt so easily. I want to make you someone even stronger, someone who can feel fully again, not because they are weak, but because they are now held by something unbreakable. My love, it's okay if you don't know how to open up. It's okay if all you can offer is a crack in the wall right now. I'll take it. I will never rush you. I will never shame your slowness. I will sit with you in the silence, gently calling your heart back to life. And when it's ready, it will beat freely again, not numb, not hard, and not guarded, but alive, vibrant, full of me. This isn't about going backward, it's about becoming whole. You were never meant to lose yourself in order to survive. You were meant to grow into someone even more beautiful because of what you've overcome. So here I am, child. Not demanding entry. Just waiting patiently at the door of your heart. Knocking softly, lovingly, and whispering this promise. I will never hurt what you offer me. Let me make you new. Let me soften what the world made hard. Let me awaken the tenderness you thought had died. It's not too late. Your softness is not your weakness, it is your anointing. And it's time to feel again. Amen.